Welcome, my name is Debbie and this is Pouring My Art Out for the Lord, and I want to just show you a really quick and easy little envelope pouch thing that you can put in your journal. And you just need one piece, one-sided page of digitals, and for this closure just a couple of scraps and a brad. So well, and a little strip of digital paper or cardstock to match if you want a pocket in it as well. So it just opens like that. It's not closed on the sides here. It's just folded over and flipped down like that. So I'm going to show you how to make that. And I saw this idea on Which Craft Do You Do? Sorry for all the scrawl here. And I think she called it Envelope Style Ephemera Wallet. And it was Renee on March 30th, 2023. So what we need to do is just take a digital. This is just a plain copy paper, one-sided digital. I'm going to fold it in half. And just to get a nice straight fold, I'll just use it on my scoring board, but you don't have to do it this way. Just in half like that. And then I want to glue it with glue stick. I'm going to stitch around the perimeter afterwards, but I like the glue stick so it doesn't get baggy. I don't know if that's the right word. Inside. I don't like it loose. The two layers loose after it's done, you know, in the middle of the pouch. I hope you know what I'm talking about. So I just glue that together. I usually use my brayer just to give it a nice good squish. Okay, and then we have a nice piece of two-sided paper. And then we want to do a couple of scores. And this one was scored at 3 1/4 and 7. So let's do the same thing. So 3 1/4 and 7. Like that. You can just fold those two scores. If your glue is not quite dry, sometimes it slips and sticks a little bit. So it's best to wait if you can. If you can't, then you just deal with the slips. All right, let's pull this way. So you can pick which side that you want to face out and which side you want to face in. I'll just do it that way. And then you can just use it like this, but to make this kind of a little bit of a fancier envelopes kind of edge, which Renee did. What she did was she just measured from the edge to 3/4 of an inch. Let me just double check that. Yes, 3/4 of an inch from both sides. Like that. And then also at 1 1/2. And also at 1 1/2 inches. So you have one at 3/4 of an inch and one at 1 1/2 inches. And same thing on the other side. So you have a 1 1/2 and a 3/4 inch. And then 1 inch down. So if I put this on my grid like this, where the 1 1/2 inch mark is, if I just put my ruler straight across, I have to move this down a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. Sorry if my head was in the way there. So at the 1 1/2 inch mark, you want to make a mark 1 inch in. So this mark is 1 1/2 inches over and 1 inch down. So again on this side, line up my ruler there, and I have a, you don't have to put that big of a mark, but I'm just doing it so you can see. So these two marks are 1.5 inches in and 1 inch down. And then we've also got a mark at 3/4 of an inch from either side. Then we'll take our ruler and line it up with that 3/4 of an inch mark and the other mark that we made in there, and just draw a line on both sides. This is pretty easy math, I'm sure. If you're thinking it's too complicated, it's really not. It's really simple. I kind of don't tend to do really complicated things. So, and basically there's our shape, and we just want to cut that out. Like that. And then basically we have our pouch beginning. I rounded the edges on the flap, so I'm going to do that again. I'm going to use the 1.5 inch side of my chomper here. Oops. Kind of missed that one a little bit. Okay. And then we need to make a pocket if we want a pocket. So you can just take another scrap of cardstock. This is another scrap that I have from this kit. And the paper that I'm using here is from the Inspired Junk Journalers God's Big Picture group over on Coffee. If you're interested in having a look at that, go over to Coffee and see what we're up to. We're studying a Bible study, and at the same time we're creating a journal, and lots of fun ephemera to go into the journal. So this I want to be, it's probably not quite 5.5. Let's see. Yeah, pretty much 5.5. And then whatever you want your depth of pocket, I can put, I'll maybe just do 2 inches here. And then I have a pocket, just like this one. So here we have a piece for our pocket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch at the top, and I'm going to stitch at the bottom, and then I'm going to put glue on the bottom, and I'm going to glue it onto the bottom just shy of that fold there. And then I'm going to stitch all the way around the perimeter, so that will attach these two sides. The bottom will be attached with glue, and this will be decorated with the stitching. So I'll be right back and show you what that looks like. I got that stitched, so I stitched the top and the bottom, glued the bottom on, and then stitched all the way around the outside. I did ink the edges, but I inked it before I sewed it, so I'm using off-white thread, so I'll just give that a little quick ink so the stitching doesn't stand out quite so dark, quite so light actually. Oops. Okay, so then this one I made from straight copy paper. This one was a little bit heavier copy paper, so this makes a more substantial envelope, whereas this one is, you know, quite thin still, which is nice for a journal, but it's thinner. So and then we just need a closure here. So to do the closure, I just punched a 3/4 inch circle, and then I poked a hole in the center with my pokey tool. And then I just had a punch that did this little decorative thing, but you can just do a little square, little rectangle. This was just a little rounded rectangle on this one here. And you want to punch a hole, poke a hole just in the edge of that one as well. And then I have a tiny little brad here, and I just put that in here. You could use, I'm sure you could use an eyelet as well. So stack those together and then close the brad up at the back there. Just make sure that's Nice and solid there. And then we want to put glue on the back of this. Like that. And then we position it so that when it's sideways, so I want to kind of find the middle here. When it's sideways, it's not going to interfere, when this part is sideways, it's not going to interfere with the flap opening, right? So then once that's nice and dry, then this part can rotate and the circle stays still, and you got a nice little closure. And I see this probably should have been either closer or a little bit longer. Let me just see if I can move it just a smidge closer without interfering with that. Yep, that'll work. So I'll glue it there. Put this up here. You could probably do a little bit longer. I doubled this one over, that's why it ended up being so short, but I might trade that off and make a little bit larger one there, but it does the trick. And then you can decorate your pockets if you want. This paper, these scraps are from, again, the Inspired Junk Journalers group over on Coffee right now. And these little bits are from there as well. So I just have Take Note and a butterfly. So I think I'm just gonna glue those on there. So just right there. Take note. There's always things to take note of, isn't there? And my butterfly. And you could decorate this however you want, obviously. Lots of different options. So there you go. And then you have your cute little envelope. You can tuck that in a pocket in your journal. You can, you could even glue it into the journal on 3 sides, and then you can still open it. But then you could have a tuck spot there as well. And while I was waiting for this glue to dry here before I stitched, I didn't want to stitch it while my glue was wet. I just decided to make, I'm always looking for extra little journal cards. I make notes of different things and quotes and all that kind of stuff, and I have journal cards as well. I have library cards in the kit and bigger journal cards, but I thought I'd just quickly make some of these as well. So I just took a 4x6 index card, and I coffee dyed it with my little cotton ball trick that I just dip it in some coffee and colored that on one side. And then I let those dry. Then I cut them in half. So now it's 3 by 4. I rounded the edges, and then I cut mats out of just this red cardstock that I had. And I cut those 1/4 inch bigger, so I cut those 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, and then rounded the edges of those, and then I just glued this one. I glued front and back. This one I glued just one side. So then I have stacks of these journal cards to use for whatever I want. So those ones will just fit perfectly in there. So you can make your notes and go like this and close it up. I'll have to fix that one. It's just not long enough. So you want that to be a little bit longer. I'm gonna go and do that right away, and then the final picture you'll see what I've done there. So super easy, quick little ephemera, what is it called? Envelope style ephemera wallet. You could also do other things on the inside as well, but that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Blessings.